This episode of the Coarse podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of Espy. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
This is Donnie Abrzanskas
and Tim Savage from Turkey Hill Brewing Company.
You are listening to Shawn Rosler on the Coarse Grind Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Special episode number 146 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. With you as always this evening, host creator Shawn Rosler. How is everyone doing tonight? You know, to say things are uncertain in this nation of ours at this point is a marked effing understatement. Whether it be political, educational, social, everything feels up in the air at this point. I don't think that's overstating anything. Everything feels up in the air at this point. And one of the greatest causes that I believe, and many of those in the industry believe, that are flying under the radar as far as being known, is that of the culinary industry. If you've been a listener, thanks Mom, for the last year or so, you've heard a couple panels come out where I've had former guests hop on and talk shop about what was and what is. And 6 months, I think it's been 6 months now, 6 months later, here we are again. Here we are looking at another wave. Here we are looking at not just another wave of the restaurants, but the industries that feed the restaurants. And in a recent discussion with one of my truly dearest friends, thanks to this brainchild show of mine, I was brought into kind of the fold of understanding just what a state we're currently in with regards to seafood. Jim Smith aside, seafood. Hi, Jim. Most of our... Hi, Jim. See, she talked. Oh, you can hear her voice. You know she's a she. You know that seafood, in general, for us all, tends to come from one really high upstate. And if you've listened to the show and you've loved the show as much as I do, you know that there's one favorite chef of mine that comes from a state really up north and a little bit to the left. So without further ado, you want to hear about her, go back and listen to the 2 or 3 episodes she's been on. She might be the frequentest flyer at this point, and that's good. That's deserved. Exec at 229 Parks in Denali National Park. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, Chef Laura Cole, what's going on, dear?
Thank you for listening. This is an important conversation, and I appreciate you, Shawn, always.
Appreciated back, and this is illustrative, perfectly illustrative, I should say, of just how low significant causes can fly. When we talk about seafood, I don't think we, the dining public, really necessarily bat an eye, and admittedly, it comes from a place of somewhat ignorance, I guess, when we just, say, oh, seafood, oh, the fishing industry. We don't think about the effort and the supply and everything that goes into it. But you, dear friend, recently brought to my attention just what is going on and what will go on, it sounds like, in the state of Alaska, and it's nothing short of harrowing. It's nothing short of frightening to me, and that's from somebody who's half a world away, half a nation away. It's crazy to me to think that this industry that we take for granted is is in danger. So with that, I'm gonna step way back and just let you explain what is going on with seafood, specifically Alaska seafood.
Okay, so, in all honesty, I don't think that a lot of people think about this when they go to get their filet of fish at McDonald's or whatever, but it is what drives our state. It is a huge economic factor for our entire state's population, and we provide the entire world with the most sustainable seafood. And it creates over $5 billion in total economic activity for Alaska. I mean, this is what drives our state. And we're down more than 80% right now based on like COVID and restaurant closures. And so this means small towns, small families, like seafood culture is being changed. And it is dramatic and dynamic, and it is beyond just whether or not you can come and dine at a restaurant or whether or not, and that in itself, we have lost, a huge amount of jobs, as everybody has everywhere. Yeah. It's upended everybody's lives, but the fact that the culture of a seafood industry is going to be so dramatically changed because these are people that can't afford to run their boats. These are people that can't afford to clothe their children. Mm-hmm. We're in dire states here in Alaska just because we don't have any place to sell the fish. Even if we could go out and fish the fish, you know? And so the ripple effect is enormous. And mm-hmm. I just don't think that people understand that when we're pushing forward initiatives to include a Restaurant Cares Act into an additional stimulus bill. It isn't because of just restaurant workers or restaurant owners or and not to say that everybody hasn't felt this impact, but the ripple effect of what including a Restaurant Cares Act in a stimulus package would do, it would help protect industry that supports states, that supports lifestyle, that supports future. And it just guts me. That's all. It's just, people are very basic in thinking about my server down the street can't afford to be a bartender anymore. Yeah. And that sucks. And it sucks for them and it sucks for, but we're talking about cultural lifestyles that are being affected right now.
Yeah. I mean, cultural lifestyles, family legacies. Like when you look at some of these crabbing boats and everything, listen, I'm talking from the aspect of deadliest catch at this point.
Well, the licenses are passed down from generation to generation to generation, as well as the boats are, as well as coastal communities are. But Alaska is just one of those states that the impact is, I think Nova Scotia probably would be the closest. Maine might be one of them too, that might be in that same peril, but that where we're not, it is actually a resource for our, dependency and independency as a state. Yeah. And when you get to desperate measures on top of, 38% of our state being out of employment and the rest of it, you don't even know, you're looking down the barrel of a gun. You don't know how you're going to come back from this. No. But how we don't come back from it will affect the rest of the lower 48. That's
it. That's really it. And I know we were talking when the mics were off about, this domino effect. But I remember working with a guy, and go with me here for a minute and you'll get where I'm going. We're working with a guy, and this is back in the mid-aughts, 2006, 2007. And the price of gas was going up, sky high. And, I'm worrying about it. He goes, "What are you worried about? It's just gas. It's no big deal." I said, "Dipshit, do you not realize what the price of gas affects?" And so we started with the price of gas. I said, who primarily uses gas a lot? Oh, people who drive a lot. Who drives a lot? Truckers. What do truckers do? They haul, stuff. What? Groceries. Okay, where are they going? Supermarket. So where's the price point going to go then? And so I'll spare you the rest of the details. I probably spent a half an hour beating him about the head with it. But I'm everything is connected. And so here we have this niche industry who, Alaska seafood, the two words go together, it's gonna roll down the hill and it's gonna hit us all. It's almost when everybody got real real hot, real hard about farm to table. Oh, we got to take care of our farmers. Cool. Fishermen are no different.
Oh, fishermen are even more extremely different than that, by the way. I'm so sorry. And I do love the I'm not like they're putting their lives in peril. I mean, earlier in conversation, you referenced Deadliest Catch and that sort of thing. I mean, yes, you can have a most amazing farm, and we grow such great produce up here in Alaska, but so does the banana belt of California and a lot of the lower 48 and the rest of it. But nobody is having to bat ice chunks off of the side of their boat with a baseball bat so they can resume the ballast of their boat so they don't tip over and capsize in the Bering Sea. These people are legitimately on a daily basis putting themselves all the way out there just to put crab on your table for Christmas dinner. And it is a legitimate thing. And these guys are such gangsters. They're so cool. And these are family legacies that they're living, and they don't have anywhere to sell their wares anymore. I almost
wonder if the reality. This is ironic that I'm saying the reality TV genre cheapened the industry. I don't think Top Chef did that at all, obviously, because I adore most of you. I adore you most of all, of course. But I think when we look at things like Deadliest Catch, did the dramatization almost do the opposite of what it set out to do? I think their intentions were good. Show this dangerous industry, man. I mean, it's crazy if you watch it.
Sean, if you were to get on a boat, do you think you could do what they did?
Hell no. Absolutely not.
Right? Okay.
No.
So, that's yes, but they do that every day. And so many of them do it in so much more extreme conditions and so much more not OSHA approved or film approved conditions. It is the Wild West up here.
And see, you're spot on there, because you can bet your ass 10 ways to Sunday Discovery isn't sending a camera crew out on something that's not OSHA regulated. You know what I mean?
So what I'm saying is that this is the lifestyle. We are Alaskan. This is what we do. And it just breaks my heart to see that our state might be broken. And I don't think people realize that, and everybody's yes, everybody needs help right now, and everything needs some reassurance, and everybody needs hope. But this is an actual industry that will be broken.
Will break.
If we don't get
exactly.
If we don't get help.
Irreparably.
It is a real thing.
Yeah. And so to look at the legislation that's on the table, and again, this is to just bring people up to speed. If you're listening, thank you for listening. Check out Seafood Harvesters of America, seafoodharvesters.org, to kind of understand the people behind the cause. I think that's the people and the industry, also, I should say.
Include the Restaurants Act. Look at what we need to It isn't just to save restaurants. It isn't just to save it's to save a lifestyle. Honest to God, if I can throw a flag up the flagpole right now and say to everyone listening, and listen, if you thought it was obnoxious sharing my own episodes before, this one's going to kill you, and I hope it does. So here's this act that's going to help out restaurant. Like the name is restaurants. I get it, but listen to the cause and effect. You have these. Let's just focus on Alaska because we love Alaska. We're going to come to Alaska, I promise you. We'll focus on Alaska and the seafood fisher folk who are up there right now, okay? What percentage of the nation's seafood comes from Alaska, Laura? Approximately about 78%.
Okay, 70 to 78%, okay, of the nation's seafood comes from Alaska. So we inject this back into restaurants so that they can keep going. And they keep going, and they need to put seafood in the walk-in. And where do you think they're going to get their seafood? 78% of the time, they're going to Alaska. Right there's your cause and effect. So when this Restaurants Act, and I kind of want to read it, letter plate straight away, just so everyone understands. And actually, this paragraph does it perfectly. So here goes. The Bipartisan Restaurants Act, introduced in June by Senator Roger Wicker, Republican of Mississippi, and Representative Earl Blumenauer, Democrat from Oregon, would provide $120 billion in grants to independent restaurants, including Alaska restaurants serving seafood from the backyard waters in Alaska. Economists project that this fund could pour $271 billion back into the economy and reduce unemployment by 2.4%. Here's the thing. If you're looking for return on investment, back this bill. Get your senators, representatives to back this bill, and you're going to see a return on it, because when the Alaskan fisher folk are able to sell their wares back into the restaurant industry can seat, can serve, can bill, and the cycle continues. Everything is cyclical. There is no endpoint. This is not just a one and done. We need to make sure that we put a stick in the spokes of the wheel of this irreparable harm being caused by this virus to help keep restaurants and the fishing industry, you ready for this dad joke, afloat.
So this is small town so good. I'm just going to say it because I feel like people don't quite understand that. Like, we are in a grassroots effort right now. Like, I appreciate all of everything that's going on. I appreciate all of, like, the different sides of the election and the different sides of the Senate race that's still being contested. And, you know, I'm not trying to bring a political aspect into it. I'm trying to bring a lifestyle aspect into this, which is just that we are all small town. We are pack animals. We are neighbors. We are friends, and we have heritage and we have history, and we have this, that we have to take care of each other. And this is an aspect that allows us to say, we need some help, and please help take care of us.
And listen, man, if you're thinking it's like easy, that they're looking for a quote unquote handout or some crazy shit like that, listen, I've lived next to farmers. They're the last people in the world to ask for help. And I got to imagine, based on what I've seen, that Alaskan fishermen are probably now the last to ask for help. Like, they will gut it out. They will tighten their belt as far as they have to. But now is the time to back the cause, to support everybody in the game, and everybody is in the game. The dining public, the restaurant industry, the farming industry, the seafood industry, you know, everybody who's supplying, it's all connected. It's all connected.
Yeah, no, it is. It's frightening, and it's also, and I'm just going to hazard this guess to say, an opportunity to really showcase what our voices are. Yeah. And I'm not shy about showcasing my voice. And
I think that's why we click so well. Like, I think that's why it's like, yo, hey, you want to jump on the mic tonight? Okay, yeah, let's talk Restaurants Act. Okay, like there's no question. And, you know, that like energy vibes well. I think, you know, obviously with the platform, you've been so complimentary, and it has flattered me beyond words that, like, I'm lifting up stories that need to be told, and I don't think twice about it. And so, like, when I looked at today and I looked at telling this, like, what's going on with the fishing industry, you know, specifically in Alaska. But I mean, let's be honest. Like you said, Nova Scotia, Maine, all these areas are going to get whacked and whacked hard, and potentially the fatal whack that they don't come back from.
But these are decades of families' industries. This is what supports. This is what created the dialogue of like seafood on your plate at a table in the first place. Like, you can't deny the history of this, and you cannot fight for it if you don't believe in it. And I believe in it, and I believe that I believe it's going to have to come from grassroots, and I believe that we need some help.
I mean, I'm about as grassroots as they come, sister. So I think you're in good hands there. You know, there's so many lines I want to say, too, about the people who are going to bitch the next time they go to, you know, a buffet of some kind. And, well, where are the crab legs? And I'm going to want to, like, literally, like, first of all, I don't know that I'd be in a buffet. I don't judge. I don't judge. They have their place. They have their place.
I don't think they have buffets anymore. I think that's in the past now.
I think that might.
I think that was pre-COVID.
No shit. I think that goes in the history books as of COVID. But assuming they come back, let's say they come back. You know, I can see Cletus and his 8 cousins looking for the crab legs, and they can't find them. Like, oh, sorry, dude. The seafood industry took a hit, and, you know, you didn't want to support the fact that these people... You know, I read something in the article you sent me. They're asking for, what, a billion in fishery assistance and $2 billion for Department of Ag.
Restaurant assistance. Yes, 100%. Yes, that's what they're asking for.
So, like...
Which is a dime in the bucket of what has been distributed and what people are asking for.
Dude, you're ahead of me. You're so ahead of me.
100%.
Yeah. So, like, explain to the lay public, because I'm sure you have an intimate knowledge of why fisheries specifically are so important. Like, you know, we think of wild-caught salmon and crazy shit like that, but, like, let's be honest. To get that bag of haddock for $8.99, you gotta have some kind of, like, farming, right?
It's such a big conversation, and I don't even mean to get into it. It's very emotional for me, but, like, these are families that have been fishing for years, and they're providing such a diversity, but they're also, in providing that diversity of culture, of food and product, they're also providing, like a regeneration for, like, all of, like, the different, like, the coral reefs and the pollock populations and everything else. Like, it is keeping our earth healthy, and it is extraordinary. And these are salt of the earth people. This isn't like, oh yeah, and then we're going out to the opera or whatever. These are people that are like, it is a different lifestyle that is part of Americana, but it's also part of what is real. It is, you wake up, you fish, you clean fish, you know, you process it and you sell it. Like, it is a lifestyle that most people can't accept. You know, but there's a huge portion of people here in Alaska that not only accept it, but admire it. And they are like, oh yeah, checking out your boat, checking out my boat. You know, like, these aren't people like hanging off on the, you know, like hot tubbing on the back of some boat or what. It is so, like, real, and has, and everybody monopolizes it except for the people that are actually producing it. And I just really don't think that it should be overlooked. I mean, I really just don't think it should be overlooked in how bad this industry has been hit and how much it has affected all of our futures. And I'm afraid. Yeah. I'm afraid for it all. And I think people are, I don't mean to say soft, but I think people forget to, like, kind of look over their shoulder and realize, like, could you have done that? Could you live off the grid? Could you actually live off the grid? Because all these people that are providing these resources for you, they do that. Yeah. You know, and that's how they live and they're making very slim margins on this. They're not living high on the hog. They're making very slim margins to maintain a lifestyle to keep producing this, to be sold in Whole Foods, to be sold at $19.99 a pound, and they're getting paid $3.99 a pound for it. You know, like, I mean, it's a crazy indifference. You know, like, all of it, and that's okay. I mean, that's the way the world works. I'm not saying that, but even that now has come in jeopardy, and my entire state is suffering in such an extreme way that I can't understand how people would ever go against including the Restaurants Act into a secondary relief package. I just don't know that. Yeah.
I mean, there's no, I'm not sure that you would be looking towards my side to express any kind of questions on that. There are no questions. I mean, it seems so incredibly, painfully, clearly logical. And obviously, you know, I mean, friendship aside, like I could say, look, it's upsetting her. I'm going to go kick whoever's ass gets in the way of it. I'm not, obviously I'm not going to do that. That's not the way things work.
Shawn.
But
I'm just going to say this right now. Like, I'm okay. My life is okay. I feel like I can lend my voice to this because, like, in all honesty, like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I know a lot of people that are not.
Like, I mean, this has been their, not just, it feels so cheap to just use, like, quips like lifeblood or lifestyle, like, this is their heritage. This is their upbringing. This is in their blood, in their bones, in all of that.
It's the past, but it's risking the future. It's risking being able to tell that story ahead.
Yeah.
Like like when the wind kind of blows through in the fall and it's like past the first frost, I feel this like urge in my bones to go pick cranberries. I just do. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I gotta go get the cranberries. This is the time. I gotta do it right now. This is the day. Fishermen, like our seafood industry, it's their bones, it's their blood, it's their lifestyle. It is their heritage. It is what they passed down and they learned from being passed on to them, and they're trying to pass on to the second generation, third generation, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh generation. But these kids, like, they might not be, it might not be a story that continues to be told.
Yeah.
And that is, and then you loop it into, like, our seafood industry is so important financially, but it's so important to, like, the rest of our economy for health reasons as well. Like, we don't, like, seafood is healthy. Wild, natural seafood is healthy. Like, people should be eating more of it. Like, our, like diabetes, like, I mean, you talk about, like COVID and people being sick, but nobody's talking about being healthy.
Right,
like, seafood helps make us healthy.
Nobody's treating the whole
part
patient.
Of that chain. And it's the whole thing, the whole cycle, the whole impact, the whole ripple effect, that everything is so overwhelming to me to realize that we're coming really close to losing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
and
that goes,
I want to express as strongly as I can. Please support us, support Alaska, support the Restaurants Act, support us.
Yeah. No question. So where can people go to learn more about this, to do something about this? What can they do, Laura? Obviously, we mentioned seafoodharvesters.org. I think it's a great informational resource. Kind of gives you an anchor. Oh my God, I said anchor, and it's a freaking boat in the picture. God, I suck.
Oh, you're so punny.
I know. So, but beyond seafoodharvesters.org, beyond your article, which, folks, if you're looking for it, go to Anchorage Daily News and just type in Restaurants Act, and it'll come up. It's the first result. Alaska Fisheries and Restaurants Need Immediate Relief. Published on November 4th. Great read.
Well, the thing is, and this has been great, and thank you, Shawn, for all of this, but it's not just the Restaurants Act for me. It's the Restaurants Act for everybody. And the Restaurant Act does help support all of these small industries that are the resource industries for restaurants in all of the states. So just, like, contact your local congressman, contact, your local, Senate, contact these people and let them know that you care, because the ripple effect is huge, and it is just like dipping your toe in the pool of possibilities of how to be more involved. Like, just help us all out and become active. Don't be passive. No. This is not a time for passive.
No, Laura was ribbing me before we got on that this was a late night for me, but you know what? This is an important cause for me, so I will forego sleep as long as it takes to get this moving. So you have empowered a soldier in the Laura Cole Army. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate just the very fiber of your being. I think you're magical, and I will do whatever I can. And listeners, I hope you do the same thing, to get behind this, to make sure this comes across and comes across strong, because truly, lives are at risk because of it. I think that's
History's
not
at risk.
History.
Future's at risk.
Yeah.
All of it is. This story is, even the children's books that we read to our kids when they were just infants had tales of life on the seven seas.
Yep.
And we won't have that if we can't sustain our industry at this point in time.
We need to do it. So, again, folks, Anchor's Daily News, Restaurants Act, Seafood Harvesters of America, seafoodharvesters.org. Contact your local congressperson, senator, what have you. Just be obnoxious until it's heard, because this is going to be felt. This is going to be felt. For as many of you who come up to me, maybe in the store, maybe at a beer tasting or something like that, and, I love the show, I love going out to eat, blah, 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 for the 4.5 years before this went down, well, now it's put up or shut up time. Get behind it. Or forget about it. Like, those are the only two options you got. Thank you. Means the world once again to have the Chef Laura Cole, the national treasure of Alaska, here with us. 229 Parks up in Denali National State Park. Our producer, as always this evening, has been the lovely, voluptuous Johnny Leland Robinson, a.k.a. the Reverend Johnny Lamoria. Check out all his happenings and such he's got going on. Next episode, hoping it's a little more upbeat, but who knows? What are we going to do? So, from me to you, stay safe, stay healthy, take care, and remember, Restaurants Act. Get on them, stay on them. Are you passing through central Pennsylvania and looking for one of the best dining experiences and craft brew menus around? Look no further. Turkey Hill Brewing Company and 991 Central Road in Bloomsburg, PA has everything you could ask for and then some. Service, food, beer together. Unbelievable. Be sure to check them out. Call them today for reservations. 570-387-8422. Call today.